welcome to another episode of Jessie Talks with the hashtag It Girl. I know it, I have it, or I can get it. Today's featured guest is Taura Golafshan. Taura is a real estate broker and a capital gains strategist. I've not met many capital gains strategists, so I'm so excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
One of the things that you shared with me that I really loved is that you read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad in 2012. So what was it about that book that kind of put you on this path that you're on with real estate and tax strategies?
So that book has been very interesting to me. It actually struck a chord because it shows you the roadmap that people usually follow regarding getting a job and paying taxes on that income. And I saw the opportunity in being in business and finding a path around those taxes and being able to use leverage to build long-term wealth and to establish yourself early on instead of being drawn into student debt and things like that.
Awesome. So when you first explained to me what you do, it kind of sounded like an alternative to the 1031 exchange. So let's explain to our viewers a little bit what the traditional 1031 exchange is.
So 1031 is primarily for investment property. And if you are selling a primary residence or a business, you will not be able to defer capital gains taxes.
So basically deferring capital gains taxes is just paying the tax later on rather than paying it today. You have a story where you had a client who was trying to find a way to defer taxes. The traditional 1031 exchange solution was not going to apply to him. So how did you come up with this strategy, or where did you find it? Where did you learn it? Or did you invent it?
Right. I wish I invented it. It's been around well before 1031. It goes way back in the tax code. And I actually went off looking for an answer because a client I was working with was not able to defer the capital gains tax. It was his primary residence, and he wouldn't have been able to sell. So I went out looking for answers.
Okay. So why don't you explain to our viewers how the monetized installment sale works, because that basically is the initial, or that's the first step of your process, right?
Yes. So the monetized installment sale is a technique, a strategy to where you can supplement your proceeds from a sale with a loan, and you can't be taxed on a loan.
Awesome. And so I know that it can be complicated, but why don't you walk us through the whole process? So I'm the seller, I'm selling my primary home, I'm trying to find a way to defer taxes as long as I can. So I come to you, and how do you structure the loan? Who are the parties that are involved here?
So in a traditional asset sale, we typically see a seller, a buyer, and a title company in between. And in a monetized installment sale transaction, we have a capital asset dealer as well as a lender. That lender is affiliated with the capital asset dealer, and its sole purpose is providing the loan for this solution. So you're swapping taxable sales proceeds for non-taxable loan proceeds, and they're coming from a private lender.
Okay, so I have $1 million home, and I have $800,000 in capital gains taxes because I bought my home 40 years ago. So the potential taxes that I would pay is about $300,000 and change maybe. So I then decide to go through your solution. So how does that look like financially for me? I'm getting my money now, but I am going to be paying taxes later on.
Right, so a huge advantage here is the time value, right? So you're able to defer the tax, and you'll use inflation to your benefit. In a couple of decades, 3 decades, that tax bill of $300,000 will actually be reduced because of the pushing it out and deferring it. And when you're getting your money up front, like you just said, you're not paying that $300,000 in tax. You can take that $300,000, put it into a safe investment like the ones that you guys provide here, and you'll be able to leverage it today and use compound interest in your favor. So you'll be using this strategy to your benefit in the long run by using that time value.
Okay, so how do you advise a client whether the 1031 exchange is going to benefit them versus your strategy? You know, what are you looking for to advise a client which tax strategy, because they're both tax strategies, trying to defer taxes for as long as possible and to retain as much in your pocket today as you can. What is really the criteria that you're looking for someone to use your solution versus advising them to work with a 1031 exchange company?
I love that question. It is very inspiring to me when individuals are looking at the bigger picture, right? So what are we looking for? And we're looking for their goals, and we're analyzing how we can get to their goals faster. And 1031 is sometimes the solution. So we're looking at the profits going to tax. 1031 might not be a solution if they don't qualify. 1031 might be a solution if they want to roll over their money into another investment and keep those funds illiquid. But if they're looking to exit out of an investment and they just want the cash, or they're looking at the market and they don't think that they want to invest in an inflated market like we're in now, they'll just hold their cash and they will invest it, you know, in a down market. So it just depends on how much leverage they want, how much control they want over their investment. 1031, you won't necessarily have too much control compared to something like this where you have 100% control over your liquid.
Awesome. And so because you do have to advise the client, whether it's going to be 1031 or your tax strategy, I'm assuming that you work very closely with individuals that are affiliated with a 1031 exchange company. And who else are your resources for being able to help clients that don't necessarily know about this tax strategy?
Well, resources are definitely other 1031 exchange professionals, definitely financial advisors and reverse mortgage lenders. A lot of times people who are looking towards solutions like this don't have any other options. I've come across some very interesting opportunities to defer capital gains or mitigate that liability through other avenues. And so it's not necessarily about getting somebody into a solution like this. It's really like, who does this fit for, and the reasons behind that. If somebody is 30% above profits going to tax, they're most likely going to look at something like this. If they are in the 5% or 17% threshold, they'll look to other opportunities that they qualify for.
Awesome. Well, I want to say you're a wealth of information. I don't even pretend to know the half of what all goes into it. I'm very impressed with you being a young entrepreneur. I wish you the best in your successful future. But I want you to let our viewers know how they can contact you.
Great. Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing from viewers, and they can contact me through my email, hearthomere@gmail.com. That's hearthomere for real estate @gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Taura, and I'm sure we'll have you back on again.
Thank you so much.
All right.